Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Brian Chambers, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the City of Huntington's inaugural Women's History Month banner program. We are gathered here today to recognize and honor 90 remarkable women who've had a profound impact on our community. This coming Monday, each of these women will have a banner installed on 3rd Avenue or 4th Avenue in the downtown Central Business District. A complimentary website, huntingtonwomenshistory.com, also has been established to feature each woman's photo and bio. To make the engagement of this project more accessible, each banner will include a QR code at the bottom that will direct you to that individual's bio on the website, thereby creating a walking history tour of these remarkable women. When you read through their accomplishments, it becomes clear that they collectively represent a large part of the foundation of our community. They have won Pulitzer Prizes for feature writing. They have launched businesses that have grown into regional and national leaders in their industry. They are civil rights activists who have fought valiantly for equality for all. And they are first responders and health professionals who have dedicated their lives to combating the drug epidemic and making Huntington a healthier and safer community. Efforts to establish this banner program began about a year ago under the leadership of former Mayor Steve Williams and continued seamlessly with strong support from current Mayor Patrick J. Farrell. When I worked for Mayor Williams and he tasked me with coordinating this banner program, I knew immediately that the first objective was to organize a committee of strong, diverse women that would select the 90 honorees. I certainly had no business doing that. With that, I would like to introduce our first speaker, committee member Dr. Montserrat Miller. Dr. Miller is a professor of history at Marshall University and the executive director of the John Deaver Drinko Academy for American Political Institutions and Civic Culture. Dr. Miller is going to talk to us about the process that the committee used to select these honorees. Dr. Miller.
Good afternoon. Today's program represents the culmination of a year-long effort. I want to begin by thanking the League of Women Voters of the Huntington area, whose project to highlight the significance of women's lives through a poster exhibition at the Cabell County Library served as the spark for then Mayor Steve Williams to call for and to launch the banner project we're celebrating today. I'd like to express my thanks as well to Mayor Patrick Farrell for his support of the endeavor and for enabling the project to come to fruition. This project has taken many, many hours of commitment by a group of people whose efforts merit recognition. The committee itself was convened and led by Brian Chambers and facilitated over the course of the summer by Anastasia Jones-Burdick, an MPA student at UVA who interned with the city over the course of the summer. The committee was also assisted by Curtis Jones, whose experience with several years of Black History Month banner programming was invaluable. I want to express my thanks on behalf of the committee to Brian, to Anastasia, and to Curtis for their hard work and their professionalism. And likewise, the Huntington Women's History Month Banner Committee should be recognized for taking on this work. The committee was made up of the following individuals: Dr. Hillary Brewster, an English professor and director of Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies at Marshall; former Huntington City Councilwoman Sandra Clemens; Laura Devaney, an author and retired Cabell County teacher; Amanda Coling, a senior program director with Resource Media, a national nonprofit communications consulting firm; Huntington City Councilwoman Allie Lehman; Huntington City Councilwoman Holly Smith Mount; Phoebe Patton Randolph, principal and president of Edward Tucker Architects, and Wendy Thomas, a retired Cabell County teacher and co-president of the League of Women Voters of the Huntington area. Let's give all these women a round of applause, please. I'd like to say a few words about the selection process itself because a lot of people are curious about that. We ended up with 90 banners, but considered many more women over the course of our deliberations, several hundred in fact. Women, after all, make up at least half of the population and have played an active part in Huntington's success as a city since its founding in 1871. While women did not earn the rights of full citizenship until the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution established federal protection for their right to vote, they have long played vital roles in political, economic, social, and cultural realms. In selecting the 90 women we're honoring this year from the pool of the hundreds we considered, we began by agreeing on two principles. The first principle was that we wanted to attempt to cover the full sweep of Huntington's history from the city's founding in the late 1800s to the present. And the second was that we wanted to involve women from a range of fields and communities that make up the rich tapestry of our community. With those two principles, we developed a rubric that we then used to evaluate our candidates on the basis of such considerations as scope of recognition, length of residency, locality of action, and legacy over time. A subcommittee of three, Wendy Thomas, Laura Devaney, and myself, ran each of the candidates through this rubric, and then the committee as a whole reviewed and refined that work to produce this year's final list. Having said that, it's abundantly clear that a great many women in Huntington who are not among the 90 this year surely deserve their place on a banner. We have, in fact, a real embarrassment of riches when it comes to the impressive and impactful women working to make Huntington the vibrant and exciting city that it is today. For this reason, I sincerely hope that this year's effort will be the beginning of an annual tradition for us, and that we will build on what we have done and extend our recognition of the impactful women on the history of Huntington and our community moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Our next speaker is Mayor Farrell. Mayor Farrell was elected this past November to become Huntington's 48th mayor. During his first 60 days in office, he's been extremely busy responding to snowstorms and flooding, and that also explains why Mother Nature didn't receive a banner this year. Mayor Farrell also just conducted his first budget session with city council members earlier this morning, so we're thrilled that he is able to join us today. Mayor Farrell.
Good afternoon. I want to first welcome everyone to City Hall. It is fantastic to see all of you and all the honorees that are here. We're honored to be able to host you here in this space, which is a great space that I don't think is used often enough. I also want to welcome all the friends and family that have come from so far away to be with us. I think it's terrific when family can get together to celebrate the people in our lives, and what a great opportunity. I want to also thank all of the people that worked to make this all happen. Montserrat and Brian mentioned some of them. This started under former Mayor Williams, so I can take very little credit for all of the work that they did. They did the work, they put the committee together, they chose the honorees last fall, and all of this was done, and all I had to do was show up and say hello and welcome. So thank to all of you that made this happen. And look, the honorees, 90 honorees are the luminaries of this city, right? The city's history is built by women, right? The history of Huntington is the history of the women that have been here. And I think all of you have had strong women in your life, from your, whether it be your wife, your mother, your grandmother, your teachers, your doctors, whoever it may be. And it's fantastic that we can honor them in this way. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it today. I will say that all 90 honorees have amazing stories, and we certainly couldn't pick favorites. But if I had to pick one favorite, it might be my mother, Charlene Farrell. So I'm grateful for all of you here and to join us in this celebration. Thanks.
Our next speaker is former Mayor Steve Williams, who was elected in 2012 and re-elected in 2016 and 2020 to become Huntington's first three-term mayor. In addition to the Women's History Month banner program, Mayor Williams also initiated the Black History Month banners and the Veterans banners that we have become accustomed to seeing in the downtown. Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Brian. It's good to be here this afternoon. 1 year ago, as Montserrat pointed out, at the Cabell County Library, we gathered to celebrate with the League of Women Voters to commemorate and celebrate Women's History Month. During that ceremony, we announced that the city of Huntington would begin planning the celebration of Women's History Month in Huntington by introducing a Women's History banner exhibit in the downtown area. I am particularly grateful that Mayor Farrell has endeavored to maintain the city's support of this important initiative. Certainly, I understand, as he has pointed out, if you're wondering where his heart is, he has two very strong women in his life, his wife and his mother, and those bookends are there, and frankly, that's why I'm so optimistic about our city's future with him at the helm. Montserrat pointed out that nearly half of the population in Huntington is women. Actually, our total population of 46,189, 24,392 are women, making up 52.81% of our population. In West Virginia, we have 1.78 million people. Our total female population is 894,306, making up 50.12%, a solid majority. When you look at those who got elected this year, when they're saying 50.12%, this is a landslide, folks. Clearly a landslide. On February 3rd of this year, I found very interesting an Associated Press article that's the headline was, "Women represent half of the U.S., but they sometimes lack clout in budget and tax talks." Nationally, women comprise just over 2,400 legislators, or 33% of all legislators across the nation. Sadly, West Virginia has the lowest percentage of legislators who are women at only 11%. When we consider where we rank on other matters throughout the state, and we are also the last in the nation in the number of women who are holding elected office, we might take some lessons to what we have learned here in Huntington. When you have women in charge, it's amazing how we are able to identify innovation and being able to move forward. My life's experience has been driven by strong women, beginning with my mother, my grandmothers, both grandmothers, my aunts, teachers, and particularly my wife, Mary. Defined by her life's experience, as every woman in this room has been and is defined I could look at each woman here and use several of these words to describe you. Of the 90 women who are going to be displayed on the banners across the downtown area, certainly every one of these words and others will define them. Strong, brilliant, innovative, selfless, driven, phenomenal, caring. Often we continue to hear advice whispered to us that were whispered to us during our days of childhood. And I can still hear my mother's instruction while we were cleaning out a toy closet when I was just 7 years old. And I can hear with her voice saying, "Stevie, you can do anything you set your mind to do. Anything. Nothing can hold you back if you set your mind to do it." We have amazing leaders who have been within our community who are women. Let me at least point out at the reason that we have been able to move forward as much as we have in recent years is because of the talent that I had surrounding me among our city council members, but particularly within my city administration. We had 3 female city managers: Brandy Jacobs Jones, Margaret Mary Lane, Kathy Burns. We had the only female to be named fire chief in the history of the city of Huntington and in the state of West Virginia, Jan Rader. And as you might recall, Jan was listed as one of the top 100 most influential people in the nation at the Time 100. Our city finances were in terrible shape, and I'm pleased to know that the person who helped guide us out of this is still the finance director with the city of Huntington, is Kathy Burks. Our director of human relations, Sherry Lewis. Assistant finance director, Sharon Pell. Our grants manager, Rebecca Jackson. Most important for me, my office manager was Angie Bracey. Huntington became known as a city of solutions in the 12 years that we were here. We were recognized numerous times by Bloomberg and other large foundations around the country for our efforts to overcoming fiscal disaster. As we left, we were named the 17th best run city in the nation. It has nothing to do with who is sitting as mayor, other than is that we, once again, as I reflected earlier, we placed women in charge to make sure that we were getting things done. And it's amazing the level of collaboration and innovation that we were able to bring together. We were recognized for addressing obesity, fighting addiction, creating an innovative economic revitalization plan when we were named the America's Best Community, not saying that we were such a great community, but the plan that we had in place, that we put in place, won the America's Best Communities competition. We have massive infrastructure development that will continue for the next 10 years, and we leveraged in excess of $550 million in investment in the city. The point simply being, going back to what was that I indicated in the Associated Press article saying the lack of women in the position to be able to make economic and fiscal decisions. We're setting a standard, albeit to male mayors, but we have the good sense of surrounding ourselves with brilliant women. Our city's future and our family's welfare will, here in Huntington, our example in Huntington, will instruct the state of West Virginia, the United States of America, and the world as to how to create a collaborative culture that serves to transform all genders, races, and cultural origins. On the shoulders of women, humankind will survive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Williams. So at this time, we would like to present a slideshow of the 90 honorees. Before we cue that up, I'd like to take a moment to thank Bullseye Total Media for coming up with the design for the banners and building the website for this program. They've worked on the Black History Month banner program for us in the past, and they've been a great partner to the city of Huntington. And they are a locally owned business owned by a woman. This slideshow presentation is approximately 7 minutes long, so I ask that you settle in and enjoy.